Hey everybody, it is nostalgia time once again, and we did quite an install race with Server 2003. And now we move on to its successor, Windows Server 2008. So we got two builds from the pre reset stages, 4028 and 4031. The official Beta 1 build of Server 2008, 5112, and then we have other builds from Beta 2. We've got four of them: 5219, 5270, 5308, and 5384. Now, all of these boot screens that you're seeing are very similar to what we have seen when we did the Longhorn development cycle and upgrade saga just a little while ago. So we can see that these installers range from their concepts to final implementations. However, there's a lot of this that's cut off. So there we go. So I'll click next, next, next. And it's asking for a product key. And it looks like 4031 has a hard drive controller error. You can see that's the Longhorn boot screen that we've all been familiar with. You can see it already generates a computer name, and we'll choose this partition. It says the partition you selected is not ready for installation. So we'll create a new partition, but it still says that the partition we selected is not ready for installation. Is it because these drives need to be SCSIs before I can even proceed? So does this one even start? Alright, it does. So 5384 is literally the only one that's going now, but it doesn't look like all these other ones are starting. So maybe I need to switch the hard disk type to SCSI again. And when we do custom, as expected, the hard drive does not show up. So interesting. So IDE comes in, and then it says that the hard drive isn't even ready for installation. Verify that the disk is turned on in the BIOS, which is definitely not true. But right now, 5384 is really chugging along. It is absolutely chugging along. It is nearly done. But meanwhile, we are just struggling with some of the other builds. But from the pictures, if we don't actually get these installed, they actually are going to look mostly identical to the client version, which we have already seen. So let's see what happens when we try a SATA drive. So as you can see, it says server codename Longhorn, and it gives a much more detailed step-by-step guide as to how to set up the server. Setting up an admin password, configuring the network, joining the server to providing a name and a domain, updating Windows, and then customizing the server by adding roles, features, firewall, and remote desktop capabilities. And then after that is the updated server manager, which sort of looks like what we would see in the final release, except it's the buttons. But then if we look elsewhere around this build, you can see we actually have a games folder here, but it looks to be empty. But of course, why would there be games in a server release of Windows? And I believe we can go to shut down. But we can see the banner that I missed. Server codename, Windows Server codename Longhorn. And then again, it asks for a reason. Well, let's open up the properties on here. We'll see Windows Server, copyright 2006. And we'll see that same banner when we open WinVer. Yep. Microsoft Windows Server, codename Longhorn, build 5384. This is shut down. And then again, it asks for a reason. It asks because it does. And then after that, it shuts down. So you can see we have the new welcome screen background, which would actually be implemented in the final release of Server 2008. So rather than the classic login style with the Windows 2000 message boxes, it would now be in a welcome screen style format, just like in the final release of Server 2008 and all other builds of Windows afterward. Well, it just missed a lot of the installation, but honestly, it was very much identical to what we saw in Vista when we did the development of Vista. Alright, here we go again. Server codename Longhorn, custom. Okay, so it looks like that worked. So all SATA, and now it's finally going. It's about time. And on this guy, I need to do the same thing. Can we install it? I see allocated space is grayed out. The partition you selected is not ready for installation. Alright, so let's try SCSI and SATA. Nope, SCSI and SATA, it's not even detected. Can we install? Still no. It says please restart your computer and verify your disks are enabled in the BIOS. Oh my gosh. What is it going to take to get this build installed? And we can see this is the first build that requires the Control-Alt-Delete. So you have to press Control-Delete and then we can log in as the administrator. And on here, we'll do the same thing. We'll do IDE and SATA. We can see here on 5219, you can see that we have, of course, the classic theme once again, and it says Windows Server Longhorn Beta 1. But we can see some areas of this are messed up, but either way, the procedure is the exact same. We have a different icon for Notepad, interestingly enough. We still have that two-column start menu from XP. Plus, we get a arrow on the right-hand side for options to log off and lock the system. And then this is where you get options to shut down. And it again says Longhorn server, and it asks for a reason, fading out the background to gray as well. So really that's all there is to see. It doesn't work. So yeah, so unfortunately 5270 is a no-go. It's a no-go, sadly. Alright, that leaves us with these two. And can we do it? Looks like we can't, unfortunately. Oh my goodness. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get the outcome I was expecting, and it looks like 5112 has hanged on this screen. So pretty much then all these builds are going to look very identical to each other, considering the login screens and everything. They're all going to be very identical to one another from their client counterparts, which we had already done a massive upgrade saga on. So at this point, we're just going to go ahead and call it quits here. So in the next episode, we're going to take a look at the remaining Server 2008 builds. We're going to try and get those installed from release candidate right to the RTM release. But until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.